In an earlier class assignment, my search for an alien sea monster took me back to my longtime fascination with the Voynich manuscript, a 15th century codex written in a yet undecipherable writing system by an unknown author. One of that manuscript's animals led me to the sea monsters in Book 6 of Thomas Kentempre's 13th century encyclopedia on the natural world called De Natura Rerum. I read about 59 different species of sea monsters, their behavior patterns and natural lore, some accurate, some not, that come with a touch of moralizations indicating the appropriate Christian manners of social behavior implied by the Creator. My research on De Natura Rerum led me to books old and new and peer-reviewed papers connecting many more branches of this medieval tree. So for my final project, I wanted to understand this kind of religious teaching and mental training. I've spent the last 5 academic years trying to understand critical and creative thinking, philosophy, humanities, and religion, and how they all play into our 21st century decision-making processes. I want to understand how medieval myths still influence such things as the sayings we hold on to and how we treat the sea. The aim of these fantastical stories was to offer preachers mnemonically memorable material which would resonate with their mostly uneducated congregations and be exciting enough to be remembered and passed along as examples of morality. 250 hand-copied prints of Kentempre's text circulated through Europe and left no doubt that sea monsters were indeed teachable illustrations of how to lead a pious life with perfected behavior. I've spent the last 3 weeks searching for examples of sea monsters used in Christian medieval writings. Even with severely limited library access, I learned that nature encyclopedias were common from Aristotle's time onward to try and explain the biological world in writing. From the 12th to 15th centuries, there was a concerted effort to include drawings of the natural world, but since many of these manuscripts were illustrated by monks who never traveled far from their cloistered life, the accuracy of the beasts varied greatly. For example, there is a biblical story of Jonah being taken up in a huge sea monster's belly, so great indeed that it could be mistaken for hell itself. It's explained in the bestiary books that it's the nature of a hungry whale to open its mouth, and out comes a sweet scent. If you are not firm in your faith in God and yield to all delights and temptations as if drunk with the sense, the devil will swallow you up. I was hooked. I read and translated scholarly pieces and languished over original manuscripts in the world's most amazing libraries. I examined the long tradition of bestiary encyclopedias and discovered their counterparts, the physiologists. These were collections of poetry, not meant to be scholarly treatises on natural history, but works that mystically transcended the significance of the natural world. And then a true surprise. My search circuitously led me to short pieces of sacred choral music called motets, polyphonic and unaccompanied, which were written by composer Philippe de Vitry in 14th century France. The composition now playing was composed after he himself was an eyewitness to a Zytrion, a creature with the tail of a fish and the body of an armored knight, known for its cunning and strength. I've had a wonderful learning adventure, so here are 3 points I would like you to remember. 1. Most medieval sea monster illustrations or descriptions came with a morality lesson to be used as a teachable moment in a time when people rarely traveled more than 20 miles from their homes and certainly never questioned any book written by the clergy. 2. Many preconceived notions that we still carry are leftover tales of virtue from these sea monster fables repeated and repeated through the ages. Mermaids and sirens, or basically women just being themselves, supposedly luring men to their downfall, is a sad story that echoes with chauvinistic connotations even today. 3. Bestiary encyclopedias and physiologists' poetry and sermonizing gave light to creative ventures like imagination, music, art, and poetry that gave people the will to explore and see these natural wonders for themselves.